Welcome back to the channel, people. So today we have the review for CannFX Beluga. So this is a fairly new one, and this is, so I think CannFX are back. My most recent one from them was the exotic gas, and if you've seen this on the channel, that was a bit of a dodgy one. Very dry, very, let's just not. We've got Beluga here today, and this is a T29. Let's get into it. So out of the bag, I definitely got it's definitely this sort of slight gassy cream with this, it was almost like herbal. It was almost herbal gassiness to it. It was enjoyable. It was not heavily herbal. I also got out of the pack this slight tropical creamy fruit with this like earthiness overtone. Not anything heavy on the tropical, but there was just nice little notes coming in just to make up this little nice sort of smell that I was getting. Flavor, I think overall, I think it translates. The flavor for the smell, it translates, but it's not very strong. For me, I think overall, I think I'd rate the flavor on this a 7 out of 10. Again, it's there, it's definitely there. I can taste the genetics of it, but it's not overly flavorful. Say like the permanent marker or the mochi gelato that they did, I think those strains I rated about an 8 out of 10. The flavor was much more coating the mouth, and sort of it was definitely more prominent with those ones. So this one again isn't as flavorful. It's definitely more muted, but it still has been a very enjoyable vape. Let's go on to the effects. Okay, so the effects, I think I'd rate a 7.5 out of 10. Very close to an 8, but for me, I think this will settle on the 7.5. Whilst this is stating a T29, I don't feel that it's as heavy for that. I definitely don't think it's that heavy. But for me, the effects were still really quite nice. I got this heavy waves of calming, sort of relaxation, very relaxing flower. I also found it to be very uplifting too. Again, just something that was, for me, more of a, it was quite versatile, I think. Whilst it's not feeling overly heavy, I think it was quite a versatile strain for me. I could hit this in the morning. I wouldn't say it's overly productive. So if I've got loads of stuff to do, maybe not the one for that. But otherwise, it's quite versatile for me because of its relaxation and calming feel. I find it's definitely good for the daytime for me to feel relaxed and calm, but also great for the evening. It's not going to have me too up and goey. It's just something that's really sort of settling me. Beluga, I've not actually tried before, so this was an interesting one for me. Very similar to some other strains that I've had. Again, it has that sort of creamy gassiness coming on. I've enjoyed it. Cultivated in New Zealand by CannFX, and this is packaged in the UK by Zeal. So again, we've had some fairly good bits of flower from New Zealand, and again, I think I'd rate this up there with being one of them. I think mochi gelato and permanent marker are back, and I have heard many good reviews from that. So I think those are still absolute bangers on the market. Bag appeal on these were really quite decent. I got especially one nug in this that was very, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a top cola, but it was one of the top parts of the plant. It was definitely a big nug there. There was a few smalls in the packet, but mostly I got a fairly decent range of buds. There was medium to large. So for £8 a gram, I think, again, I didn't get small, so I was happy about that. But speaking on the price at £8 a gram, personally, this probably, for me, this should go down to around £6.50 to £7 a gram. It's, again, like I've said on the channel, I find it very hard to justify a lot of these flowers when we're going up to these £7.50, £8 and above range. They have to be outstanding in my opinion, and whilst I've enjoyed this is a nice flower, I don't find it outstanding. So that's just my honest opinion on it. Again, let me know down in the comments if you've tried the Beluga and where you rate it. Looking at the microscope shots, I'd definitely say this was in fairly good condition. The trichome heads were fairly rounded. They didn't look too degraded or anything. I think one thing that I would say is that there was a few too many, for me personally, a little bit sort of clear heads rather than cloudy to amber. That's where I sort of prefer it. There were still the cloudy and more amber sort of trichomes, but again, like, still a few too many of the clear ones. I think that's why for me it didn't hit as heavy as I wanted it to. Still, again, like I said, it still had fairly decent effects and felt quite versatile. But yeah, overall, I think this strain, I think I'd rate this strain a 7 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. I think around those things. I think I enjoyed this. I would get it again if it drops in price. Yeah, I think, again, CannFX is back, but necessarily maybe not quite. This wasn't for me the standards of the Mochi Gelato or the permanent marker. So yeah, if you guys have had it, let me know your thoughts on this strain down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, stay medicated. I'm off.